Okay. This is my first time recording something on OBS instead of streaming using it. We'll see how well this works. If it works well, please let us know. So, uh, welcome, one and all, singular and plural, to Take the Wheel, a dissociative podcast. A little bit of a disclaimer, this isn't going to be like the most edited thing on the planet, like at all. Editing videos is something that makes posting videos feel like a chore, and we want to actually be able to like upload frequently, so we're not going to edit this a whole bunch. Second disclaimer, this podcast isn't entirely intended to educate people. It's mostly meant to share our personal experience as a system. And, we're not going to claim to be like an expert in any kind of dissociative disorder just because we have it. We're always going to, link way better sources than us in the description if we mention something that's a little bit harder to explain personally, or even if you just want to check it out yourself, do your own research. We're always going to be totally okay with that. Our videos, unless stated otherwise, aren't meant to be, taken as fact. Kind of take it with a grain of salt. Understand that every system's going to be different, and as long as you're respectful about asking questions, we'll totally be okay with you asking any question. Don't worry about it. Right off the bat, it would probably be a good idea to answer the burning question of like, what even is DID? What's DID? What was that system thing you said earlier? If you don't know about plurality or what systems are and how they're created, then a very brief description. When you were a little tiny baby, when we're all tiny little tiny babies, we have very separate ego states within the self. We don't have a personality when we're an infant, obviously, but we do. Like we want food, we want attachment from our parents, that kind of thing. And when you're about 9 years old, all of those things kind of come together and form a little shell over it, and that is you. That shell is your personality. But when you go through repeated trauma or extreme trauma as a child, those states don't come together, but they do around the age of 9 form those shells anyway. And in between those things called parts or alters, there is dissociative amnesia. And it makes it to where, you're not aware of the other things. Those are the two criteria for DID. The multiple identity states, very definitive from one another, and the amnesia between those multiple parts. There is a separate term underneath DID called OSDD. That is personally what we have, and that just means out of those two criteria, you just lack one of them. But that doesn't mean you don't still have a dissociative disorder. So OSDD commonly is spoken of in two parts, OSDD 1A and 1B. 1A just means that those distinct identity states aren't quite as distinct from one another. Usually they would take after a single person, but they would be different forms of them. Like different ages, things of that nature, maybe like a gender swap version, something like that. We know an OSDD 1A system, and they're perfectly valid. And personally, as an OSDD 1B system, we just lack the amnesia between most of those states. We do experience dissociative amnesia, but not in between alters. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with who's out. It's just we have a terrible memory. So, the meaning between or behind the title "Take the Wheel" kind of comes from the fact that we like to look at the body, the vessel, as kind of like a Gundam that we all run, or like a car that we all drive. And sometimes, whenever things get way, 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 way too difficult for one of us to handle, another person will step in and take the wheel for us. And it's very nice to be able to take a break sometimes whenever one of you is out for too long. That's definitely me. I'm out the most. and it's damn exhausting. So it's nice to be able to let someone else take the wheel sometimes if they're available. And that's kind of just where we got the idea. If you guys like the idea, it's still a working title. If you guys like the idea behind it, or if you guys have a better idea for a title, let me know. I feel like we'll be pretty receptive to that. A brief intro, I guess, specifically about us. We are called the Ethereal Collective, as I'm sure by the title of the channel you could tell. For a very long time, we've had a very deep connection to the word ethereal. It's something that kind of like it gave us like little tinglies, like little like butterflies, but in our heart. Like that's like that's kind of just like the attachment that we've had to it for the longest time. Our system logo, you can see the little thing in the, well, I'm sure you can see it right there actually. It is a symbol of protection in our religion. Just there's a little tapestry. There's a pentacle tapestry, but it's just out of frame. We are almost collectively Wiccan as a system, and so this kind of imagery is very important to us. That symbol that we associated with our system is known as a witch's knot, and we have that tattooed on the back of the body's neck. And it's something that all of us, more or less, kind of agreed that would be fine to use to refer to the whole system. The ones who had a different opinion just didn't give a shit. So, also, most of us swear a lot, so apologies and or trigger warning that we might swear sometimes, just like a little bit. We're gonna do our absolute best to hold back a little bit, but no promises. So going back into us as a system, we have some comorbid illnesses. We are somewhere on the spectrum, but we're not totally sure. It kind of runs in the family. All of our siblings are much more visibly on the spectrum, but we're a little bit more on the neurotypical side of the spectrum. We still do a lot of stimming. We kind of catch ourselves rocking and clenching our hands and curling our toes, which is a little bit funny, but we catch ourselves doing that a lot. We have anxiety and depression, but then again, who doesn't these days? There's stuff going on. We're also almost certain that we have borderline personality disorder, but that's not something that we've gotten some kind of concrete answer. Yeah, there was that. As a long-term goal, I think, for the system, I don't believe we plan on integration at any point. We're still somewhat new to the like experience of like terms and what's expected of systems. So hearing at any point that one of the solutions, I guess, to OSDD is getting rid of everybody, that it just made us all just like we couldn't do that. So definitely not a goal for us, and it's something that we definitely don't like to talk about. There are a lot of resources for DID on YouTube and on Instagram and things like that, especially TikTok now, which is strange. But whenever you're watching these YouTube channels, Multiplicity and Me, Dissociated, the Entropy System, sometimes you feel a little bit phony to not experience the same things that they do because you're an OSDD system. Like deep down you know that you're supposed to have these differences, but because there are so many similarities, it becomes like it kind of accentuates those differences that you experience, and you're like, am I really going through this, or is this just something weird, like something else that we don't know about? Like that this could just be something totally strange and out of left field. And then we found the Alexandrite system and the Rings system, and those two channels got to us in such a deep way. We've cried on multiple occasions watching these channels because oh my god, we finally felt heard. We finally felt, especially with especially with the Alexandrite system, almost everything that they go through, we go through almost exactly. And it made us feel so secure and so seen and valid. We want to contribute to that. We want to add to the amount of systems that are out there that are OSDD systems that can help people like us feel seen faster. And just the least that we can do to try and have people not experience that kind of questioning for so long is something that we really, really want to we want to help people not feel that. Oh my god, can't use words. I'm awful at talking. If you like the Alexandrite system and if you like the Rings system, I hope you'll enjoy our content as well. Again, as mentioned at the very beginning, we don't really plan on making this educational in the conventional sense of giving definitions for things unless it's something that's, like right off the cuff and we've mentioned before and blah, blah, blah. This would be more for people who are a system and want to feel seen, less so for people who are trying to get to know a system and how to interact with them. If you're a singlet and this is something new to you, I would definitely recommend the Rings system or Dissociated. I feel like they're great educational sources. We want to share our story so other people don't feel alone. That's basically what it is. And like trying to find community is something that's very, very difficult for us. We're not the greatest at maintaining relationships with people just because, like approaching first is hard and having the energy to keep up conversation is hard, especially if you're not the person who started it. It's just really difficult sometimes. And we feel like using YouTube as a platform, which is a platform that we haven't used up until now to try and find system friends, that we'd give this a try. So yeah, that's basically it. Like we said, the next episodes coming up are going to be the altar introductions. I'm going to be recording mine like directly after this, just because I'm already here. So I'm gonna be wearing like the same outfit. It's just the same day. So thank you guys for watching and hopefully enjoying. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.